Hello mates, welcome to Full Stack Java Developer. I am Kiran Jadhav here. In this session, I will teach you here Spring Boot XML request payload. This is very commonly asked into question how you are going to use XML request payload in Spring Boot application. For that perspective, there are three important things available. We need to add dependency like Jackson data format. Dependency we need to add. Second thing, in POJO class we need to use their annotation XML root element, and we must want to mention their root element as well. In this example, we'll consider as an employee. And the third thing, whenever you are working with the controller layer in API creation part, that time you need to mention there whatever like process type as MediaType as XML, and same for consumes as well. Then simply we'll start with the hands-on, and this is pure practical example. First, we are going ahead with the creating the Spring Boot application here. Simply come up with the Chrome browser and type here Spring Initializer. Here we are creating Spring Boot application. Simply come up with the project as Maven project, language as Java, Spring Boot version, latest version we are using. Here project metadata, it means information about our project. I am giving here package as a com.fullstack, and artifact it means application name. I am just giving here application name as Spring Boot XML request payload. Now simply refactor the base package. The packaging as jar, Java version 17, adding dependencies here, DevTool for live load, Lombok for reduce the boilerplate code, Spring Web itself inbuilt Tomcat server available there. We are adding here MySQL dependency as well for database driver perspective. Next, data JPA. Now simply click on generate. See, within minute production ready application will be available there. Now we'll copy our application and just paste into particular folder. Simply right click there and go ahead with the extract. See, once extraction is done, then we'll copy the path of our application and coming to IntelliJ IDEA. Simply come with the file, new project from existing sources, giving the path of our application, go to the OK, trust project, simply click on create, then trust project with new window. It will open in another window. Perfect. Now simply come with the pom.xml file, and here we are adding Swagger UI dependency. Simply use org.springdoc. Yeah. Here latest version of Swagger UI we are using 2.8.5. Now coming to next is src main resources. There we are just going to add database properties. New file I am creating, the file name as application.ml, and the ML content I will just copy from existing any application. Then in your case you can simply copy paste from our GitHub project. I will upload this project on GitHub, and GitHub URL available in YouTube description box. Here I am giving database name as HRM. Then now everything is fine here. Simply come up with the Maven and go to the build up our application. Then meanwhile we'll simply come up with the skeleton part. Simply right click on base package, new package I am giving package name as entity. Next package I am creating package name as repository. Next package I am giving here service package, and the next package creating here package name as controller package. Now simply come up with the entity, new Java class name as employee. This is our POJO class. Then in repository creating new interface name as employee repository. In service I am creating new Java class, this is employee service. And in controller creating new Java class as employee controller. See, our build is success. Once build is success, simply reload the project. Now we'll start with the development of our application. Then POJO class we have available here employee. Simply annotate with data coming from Lombok. It will help us to reduce the boilerplate code. Data we are using it replaceable with getter, setter and toString. At all our constructor it means parameterized constructor. At no our constructor it means this is default constructor. Using here entity coming from Jakarta persistence. We require here table as well, and the table name I am just mentioning here employee as a table name. Now using here @id, it means this is primary key. @generated value, it means this will be auto increment. Static I am giving here as a generation type as identity. Now I am using private, this will be int emp have id. Private string emp have name. Private double emp have salary. Time being I am not adding like more fields, but in your case you can go to the number of fields like Aadhaar card, PAN card, email, password, whatever. I am just adding here 3 fields: id, name and salary. We'll come up with the employee repo, annotate with @repository. Then simply use here extends jpa repository. And this is our POJO class as employee, and the wrapper class itself integer. Now coming with the service, annotate with @service annotation. And here I am using @auto_void. Instead of creating the object by using new keyword, we are just using @auto_void. Private, this will be employee repository. And methods I am going to write public, this will be employee. We are just trying to save data. Entity also we are passing as a employee itself. Now simply do return, this will be employee repository dot inbuilt method available there, save, passing the entity as employee. Next public, here we are using optional class, it will help us to avoid null pointer exception, and the method itself find by id. Integer type of emp id we are passing as input. Now simply to return employee repository dot find by id, id as an input. Next method I am writing here public list, this will be we are trying to fetch employee list, and the method name as find all. Now simply to return employee repo dot find all, it will fetch all data. Then time being I am just creating here three methods functionality: save, find by id and find all. In your case you can create number of functionalities there. Now come up with the employee controller, annotate with @rest controller @request mapping, and here I am passing base URI as employees. Again we are using here @auto_void, this will be private employee service. The API creation part, first we are going to use post mapping to save fresh data. Here I am passing API name as save. This will be public response entity, it will be type of our employee, and simply say save. Now I am using here request body, and we are trying to insert data for this employee as a request payload, right? From Swagger we are passing as a request payload. Then simply to return, this will be response entity dot okay. I am just calling here employee service dot save function, save method, and simply pass here entity as employee. Like here we are using request body, it means Swagger side we are just passing the request payload, and definitely we are going to call service layer, and there is again we are calling repo to save data into database. Next API get mapping, this is for find by id. Input we are passing here emp id as a input. Public response entity, it will be type of our optional class. Optional is a Java class coming from java.util package. It comes in Java 8. It will help us to avoid null pointer exception. Optional of employee, and simply say find by id. Then input we are passing, that's why I am using here @path variable annotation, and input giving as a emp id. Simply type return, this will be response entity dot okay. We are calling employee service dot find by id, id as an input. Next, and this is the last API we are writing here, get mapping, this is for find all. Then public, this will be response entity, we are giving list of employee, and the method name as find all. Simply to return, this will be response entity dot okay, employee service dot find all. Perfect. Then by default, like request and whatever we are giving as a response, it will return in JSON itself actually, right? Then first we'll go to the test with the JSON, and then we'll do the changes for XML request payload. Now simply start our application here. Simply start the Spring Boot application. What we are expecting it goes to work on port number 8080. That's why I'm just hitting here Swagger URL. We are just waiting to get it up and running. Yes, Swagger is up and running. Simply come up with the post, save data here, right? Simply passing name as Sora, and the salary I am giving here 97,000.96. Execute. Data inserted into database successfully, right? Here is it. Again, if you are trying find by ID, just try it out. First number record I am trying to search it. See, Sora details are available there. If you are trying find all, there is only one data available. It will fetch only single data, right? Yes. In database also, you can simply go to use our database /r from employee. There is available Sora details. Perfect. Now we'll come up with this session like XML request payload, right? Yeah, this is the one example I given here, like XML request payload, how it happens. XML it means extended markup language, and JSON it means you can simply say JavaScript object notation. Like this is one object, and this is square bracket, it means array of object you can simply say, and curly brackets holds like one object. Then we'll come up with the XML payload request changes. Then first thing, add dependency. Which dependency? Jackson XML. Then how to copy this dependency? You can simply come up with the central artifact like Maven repository. Simply type here Jackson XML dependency. This is the official web page like Maven repository artifact. Then I will copy the latest dependency. Simply click here, and here if you are using Gradle, you can click on Gradle, then you can copy. If you want jar file also available there, but we require the Maven dependency, right? Simply click, it automatically goes to copy. Once it copy, then simply come up with the pom.xml file, and if you are doing any change in pom.xml file, right, then simply stop the Tomcat here. Okay, stop your application. Perfect. Yes. Then coming to next step, next is use annotation at POJO class. Which annotation? @XML root element. Then coming with the POJO class, we have POJO class name as employee.java. Here annotate with @XML root element, and the name as I am passing here employee. See, this is the second change. Third change, in controller layer you can simply use produce and consumes. Which type? MediaType-XML. Then simply come up with the controller layer. This is the third change. Then here I am just using comma separated produces, you can say this is MediaType-XML application XML value, and if you are checking here, there is available application XML. See, this is the constant define here, right? Application XML available there. Simply come back here. One more we are just going to add here. This will be like you can simply say consumes equal to MediaType application XML value. Then same thing, like whenever you are trying to find by ID, right? I am just trying to use here produce. Sorry, comma you can simply use here, and this is MediaType. We are giving here application XML value. Same for find all as well. I will just do the copy paste here. Yes, here is it. You can simply use comma separated. This will be produces, and we are giving here MediaType as XML application XML value. Perfect. Then we done with the changes. 3 changes we did here. Like first, add dependency Jackson XML. Second, use annotation at POJO class XML root element. And the third is in controller layer, just use the produces and consumes MediaType as XML. Now we done with the changes. Then simply goes to Maven and go ahead with the build. Do clean space install here. It will start with the build. We are just waiting to get the success message. Once build success, then we'll reload the project and we'll go ahead with the test the API. And we are passing a request payload as a XML. Yes, here we are just waiting to see build success message, and yes, our build is success. See one screen. Here is build is success. I just highlighted here. Now simply come up with the sync of, just reload the project. Once project reload is done, simply start the application. And once application up and running, then simply go to the Swagger otherwise Postman API and test your APIs and simply pass the request payload as a XML format. See, application up and running. We are just coming back to your Swagger. Simply refresh the URL. See, now simply click on Save API, try it out and see, here is the change. Now you are able to see XML request available there. Application XML, I just highlighted here. Perfect. ID is auto increment. That's why you not need to worry about that. Name I am passing here Pooja, and the salary I am passing here like 99,000.99. Simply execute. See, response also like process also coming as a XML type. Here this is the consume, you can simply say request payload, and the response also XML itself. I want to add one more record here. I am just adding for Lakshmi, and Lakshmi salary I am just giving here 92,000.99. Simply execute. See, data inserted. Now how many records available there? 3 records available. I am just trying to fetch second number data. See, it will fetch data for Pooja, XML type, right? ID, name and salary. If I am trying to fetch data for first record, it will fetch for Sora. See, XML response available. Response body also in XML type, you can simply say. Perfect. XML it means extended markup language. Now come up with the next find all. It will fetch 3 records. Simply execute and all in XML. This is list, and you can simply say this is the one object, this is second, and this is third, and this is list of data we are trying to fetch here, right? Yes, like such a way we handle in this session like Spring Boot application XML request payload. And if you are facing any difficulties, then feel free to add your comment in comment box. Thanks for watching this video. Please do like, share, subscribe the channel to get more updates, and see you in next video.